Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your modelers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to the Kit Hoarder Stash. Today I have another 350th scale ship. This one is the Trumpeter, Uss Alabama. I've been wanting to get a South Dakota class for a while now to kind of go along with my Washington, and I really wanted the South Dakota itself, but they don't make it. They make a Massachusetts or they make the Alabama. And I was thinking the Alabama is more, the way it's configured, it's more for, around the time period that I would want, December of 42, for the South Dakota. I would have to do some work to it though, to convert it. And I've really been thinking that I want to do that, but I got looking at the camo scheme on this Alabama in early 1943 when it was on its shakedown cruise. It's a Measure 12 modified, and I got to do that camo scheme. That just looks so cool. So today, we are going to open up and look at this 1/350th scale Alabama and review it, and we'll kind of go from there. So stick with us, folks, and, well, let's take a look at it.
The Uss Alabama Bb Number 60 was laid down on the 1st of February 1940 in the Norfolk Navy Yard. She was launched on the 16th of February of 42 and commissioned the 16th of August 1942. So she was armed with 9 16-inch guns, 25-inch dual-purpose guns, 6 quadruple 40mm anti-aircraft guns, and 35 single 20mm anti-aircraft guns. Alabama was 680 feet long overall and had a beam of 108 feet 2 inches. The draft was 35 feet. She displaced 37,970 tons. On November 11th of 1942, she began her shakedown cruise in the Chesapeake Bay, and this is where this Measure 12 modified really comes into play. She continued through February with some training cruises for the crew. And it wasn't until April where she was temporarily assigned, this is April of 43, assigned to the British Home Fleet to reinforce the Allied naval forces that were available to escort the Arctic convoys to the Soviet Union. And it was somewhere along that time that she was changed into a Measure 22. On August 1st of 43, she returned to Norfolk for some overhaul to prepare for operations against the Japanese in the Pacific Theater. Alabama emerged from the shipyard on the 20th of August and began the voyage to the Pacific via the Panama Canal. Upon arriving in the Pacific, she embarked upon an extensive training program that lasted for a month and a half to prepare the battleship to operate with the fast carrier task force. She was in the Fiji area, the Gilberts, the Marshalls campaign, the invasion of Tarawa. She also was part of the bombardment of Badio on the Tarawa Atoll. She also participated in the landings at Macon, and she helped to bombard the island of Nauru, where the Japanese had quite a source of phosphate. She was part of operations in the Marianas and the Philippine Sea, had a very illustrious career in the Pacific. Today, she is a museum ship in Mobile Bay, Alabama. Attention on deck, the USS Alabama Bb 60 from Trumpeter is ready for assembly. So, first in the box is the color scheme that Trumpeter gives you which is incorrect. The pattern's good. The pattern's good, but the scheme itself, well, this 12 modified, yeah, there's some problems. We'll talk about that when I build it. So here in the kit, you've got some flags, which is always nice to have, and some insignia for the float planes. And speaking of float planes, they're nice and clear. These are your Kingfishers. They look pretty good. We'll see how they go together. Oh, here's the one problem with all these Trumpeter kits, and that is this hull. This one-piece hull that, oh man, it's so flimsy there in the middle. But you do have the lower hull. The one thing, though, it does have the option of the waterline or the full hull, and I do like that option. So here are the instructions, your typical Trumpeter instructions. And as far as I'm concerned, they're fine. You've got your parts callouts, which I like these breakdowns that they have. What really surprised me is there's not a lot of sprues in this kit. When you're looking this thing over, compared to some of those Verifiers that I've been building that have a lot of sprues. So typical. You've got some options of some of the holes that you can open up for the things that you're going to be putting on here. And by the way, some of these are very inaccurate. If you're, depending on when you're building this ship, do your research ahead of time, because Trumpeter has no clue as to what really the outfit is on this. I hate to put it that way, but it's just so true. Just do your research ahead of time so you know which guns you need to put on, so you know which life rafts you need to put on, and whatnot. So otherwise you'll be very disappointed at some point in time when you're about done and you go, oh, well, gee, this isn't what it looks like in the picture. So anyway, here's all these little fittings you've put on. The 5-inch guns are multi-piece, yuck. The main battery is the same main battery that they had on the North Carolina, yuck. Yeah, they don't go together very well. There's gaps in them. So here's your bridge. And these actually aren't too bad. These areas, from my experience in the Trumpeter kits, aren't too bad. Those turrets were really bad, though. More of the bridge area. All pretty straightforward. Putting some 40 millimeters on. Lots of 40 millimeters and some 20s. The 20s do not have gun shields on them, which I really just got to scratch my head as to why on earth they think they need to put 20 millimeter guns on these things without shields is beyond me. It blows my mind. Here's placing the 5-inch guns. I mean, it's just a simple little U-shaped thing that they could include in the kit and would make it so much better. Putting the upper works on and putting the hull together, which is yuck, a pain, and assembling your airplane. So it's really pretty straightforward as far as its assembly. The deck comes in these 3 pieces. It's not as bad as it looks. I have put it together and it's not too bad. You got a nice little stand with it and a nameplate, which is very good. Nice to have a nameplate. You got a couple of these sprues here that have the main guns, but let me tell you about this sprue here. In the middle on the far right hand side, this has blast bags. Yes, it has blast bags and it has some cut down barrels that you can use. That is absolutely awesome to have in this kit. It would have been nice to have in my North Carolina. Anyway, here are the turrets, and those 5-inch turrets, oh man, they just look so horrible. Anyway, the bridge areas. There's only one of this particular sprue, and one of this sprue here, which is more of your bridge area, some of your splinter protection, a couple of your screws. There are 2 of these here. This has your 5-inch guns, your quad 40s, some life rafts. There's one of these sprues here. Looks like you have your a couple of screws and the propeller shafts. one of these sprues here, which is some of your upper works, some gun tubs. I believe there's only one of these, which is your aft crane and your plane launchers. So there you go. Like I said, not a lot of sprues in this kit, so it should go together pretty quick and easy. We'll see how it fits. We'll keep you posted as we build this thing, and I'm really looking forward to painting it. So thanks for joining us today, folks.